So somebody had written about on Kiwi Farms. They had said, nothing proves how retarded Nick is, quite like his insistence that April living in a different building on the same plot of land is April not living with him. Now, first of all, I do think April sleeps there from time to time just because of what I know. Fooled absolutely nobody and gets proven false immediately. Why does he even bother lying about this shit? Well, I mean, I will say this. A, he does it a lot. He lies a lot. And I don't think he thinks he's lying. I think he justifies. He's a guy who takes a word of truth and then crafts the lie around it and goes, no, but this thing I said was true, so I'm not lying. And it's like, dude, that's a damaged guy.
Everything that's built off of it is a lie, though.
Yeah,
but we started with the truth. That doesn't matter.
He's mentally fucked. He's got, in my opinion, mental problems. Because his concept, Colonel, your moral compass is so fucked, I'd be surprised if you made it back to the parking lot.
He did say he was Polish, so.
Well, that's a good point. I wish we had 2 more of them. We could change this light bulb.
I'm only half. I don't know if it counts. More of a day walker myself.
I'm a bit of a day walker myself. Does he think it raises his standing with a judge or jury for his thruple fuck toy to be living in his in-law apartment instead of the same room as him and his wife? The problem is that the second home was already being used as a fig leaf to say that April wasn't technically living with them. That situation would have to change if he was going to try a new gambit. So, MN Public Records responds to this by saying, oh, well, I have some information for you guys. Now, I can't read these documents he put out. They're too small. He released them in like a 1-sheet page.
Okay.
But there's 12 sheets on each page.
Okay.
So it's too small. I can't read it. And when I go to try and click and drag and zoom in, it zooms back out to the original image. So he luckily went and basically put a summary up of what's in these new documents. It is about the child case. It's about the child custody case. It's not about the criminal case. This is a different thing. This has updated rules and this has updated findings about what's going on with the custody situation. As you may know, Nick and Kayla's 5 children are not with them because Nick, Kayla, and April were doing cocaine and doing and they had a fucking messy house and nobody ever fucking cleaned it and it was disgusting. And it was unsuitable for children. And then, they took drugs out of the house and all this other shit. Kayla told the cops that she was the live-in nanny. Nick said, no, she's a friend. She's just visiting. I mean, usually when my friends are visiting, they don't leave their debit cards on the nightstand with cocaine on them. But, Johnny, everyone has house guests differently.
Right. Like if I'm someone's house guest, I'm not going to make them use their credit card to chop the coke. I'll use mine. It's the least I can.
Right. You know what? It's a nice way to be, what do you call that? Hospitable.
Yeah, be respectful of your hosts.
Being a nice house guest. So Nick announces he's going to stream last night. So MN Public Records goes, all right, deal with this. He writes, interesting new matter of public record attached. Nick, not necessarily all that new since it's unclear whether the case plans have had updates since the plan established date of June 23rd. But in any case, the state filed them with the court on July 9th with no stated indication of what may or may not have changed in the interim. You will be pleased to see that the state isn't falling for that laughable separate mailing address gambit either, as their humiliating list of preconditions to return of custody includes. So now we're getting to the list of things that the state is saying you guys need to do in order to get
for your kids to come back.
In order, before we start talking about your children coming back, this is what we've got to do. Their humiliating list of preconditions to return of custody includes unscheduled site visits, getting full access to every room in both homes. So that's new. We haven't heard that before. So now you can't pull my booze and drugs and everything. Well, first of all, why would you, if people's theories are correct and they are keeping it in the house that April is quote unquote staying in, then why would you put April in that position?
I don't know.
That's a really shitty spot to put her in. But then again, if she's going to live rent free, I mean, I guess not technically free, but If she's going to live there and, have her bills paid and everything else, so she doesn't turn on you, then I guess she's got to pull her weight in some form or fashion. Getting full access to every room in both homes on the overall compound, which now this is MN Public Records rights, which must have been awkward for April. Good news for the children, perhaps, but unfortunately a sign of very boring times to come now that the spare house is no longer usable for whatever backup stash they were speculated to have set aside there. So the long-awaited relapse arc is now that much less likely. Well, I don't think this MN Records guy, Johnny, really understands addicts that well.
Yeah.
I mean, just because a piece of paper says you can't do this here doesn't mean it stops anybody from doing anything.
And just because they say, oh, we're going to check every house in the home and the grounds in general, doesn't mean they aren't going to be like, well, I bet I know this one little hidey hole that nobody knows about.
Right. Exactly. They're not going, people think it's like Guard Hadley and the warden going, tossing cells in Shawshank and shit like that, like the CPS people are going to throw a rock to a wall and it's going to go through a poster and they'll find a giant coke hole in there. I don't think that's what they do.
They'll pretty much just kind of go room to room and kind of look. Maybe they'll open some drawers, but yeah, they'll just kind of look.
Unless, of course, there's some third place to go disappear for days with his studio too inaccessible to stream about 3 huge stories right in his bailiwick. I don't. Now we're getting into his guessing. But anyway, plenty of other interesting stuff worth a read, he says, including but not limited to different Ojai County Health and Human Services caseworkers are now handling this for some reason rather than Alicia Sweep, that Nick flat out accused of perjury on his stream. Now, let me help with that one. The reason Alicia Sweep isn't the person listed as the CPS person in charge of this is because Alicia Sweep is in charge of the whole department. She's just the person who did it at the beginning. She can't oversee all of these. She's got an army of social workers.
She's got an army of sweepers.
Yeah, all these sweepers are now going to go through and they're going to take care of it now. Or Nick's Rev. Okay, so here's some of the conditions on there. Number 1, they can now search both houses, which you had to know that was coming, Johnny, because these people aren't fucking stupid.
Right. It's you have 2 houses on a property like, oh no, our house is totally clean. Yeah, we don't need to check the other one at all. Who would think to move stuff there?
And it's not like the state
evil mastermind could plan that far ahead.
Right. And there's a pretty young blonde girl living in the other house. Like, the state doesn't know that's your fuck buddy. Like, the state doesn't know that's your girl. Come on. They're not. I mean, the lack of respect for the ability to obtain or disseminate the obvious from what they're seeing is.
They just need a horn dog inspector to go out there and just be like, all right, so we got to check this lady. Oh, no, that's just our friend. Oh, really? You guys aren't a thing? So then they just start hitting on April. What's up? So you're single? So like you're available?
So Nick's revocation of consent to release of his past hair test results not mattering much now that the Health and Human Services Department of Ojai County is preconditioning custody. This is important, on him submitting to not only random urine analysis and ETG. What's an ETG?
No idea.
Is that a blood test maybe?
Probably.
UA is urine analysis, I'm guessing.
Yeah, UA is urine analysis.
And then ETG, I'm guessing, is a blood test. Looking back a few days, but he also has to do regular hair tests looking back several months all over again. So now that's an interesting new wrinkle to this that we didn't know about before. If he wants to get his kids back, number 1, he has to release his past hair test results that they took when he got arrested, which you and I both know, Johnny, is going to be rife with blow.
Yeah. So much so they'll think the hair was coated in it. Like
they'll think, wait a minute, did our people roll this hair in coke before it was? I don't understand. Did we deep fry this motherfucker in cocaine? I don't understand it. But now they're going to do hair tests as, again, a precondition for you getting your kids back. So if he doesn't agree to take the hair tests, you don't get your kids. And if he does the hair test and it turns out he's been doing coke these last few months, they'll know also.
You don't get your kid.
Right. So basically, if Nick's ever going to quit cocaine, he'll wait until he quits for a couple months. Then he'll go, okay, I'll do the hair test now.
Yeah. And he'll shave his head. Okay, I'll do the hair test.
That would be funny if Nick goes on stream and he's got a bald fucking head. How perfect would that be? Oh, Johnny, that would be so great if he shows up on stream and he's just cue bald.
I accidentally used the wife's Nair, thought it was shampoo. Whoops.
Whoopsie daisy. Now, also, Candy-Ojai County Health and Human Services frustration with how the Rekietas invoking their Fifth Amendment right kept being, quote, a barrier to case planning tasks such as drug testing and talking about drug use. So what Candy-Ojai County is saying in these documents is that the Rekietas not letting anyone check in on their drug use is
makes it harder to get the kids back.
What the county is saying is, dude, we're trying to give you an avenue to get your children back. You're making it more difficult. You're making it look like you'd rather have drugs than your kids. Because what we're saying is, hey, man, release your hair tests. We can start from there. We know it's going to be positive. You know it's going to be positive. But that's where we start day one. Boom. Now we get these hair tests going forward. You'll be clean, everything else. And the Rekietas are stonewalling it. They're saying, no, absolutely not. And it's like, well, then there's no faith the county has that you're not doing drugs. So, yeah, we're not letting you have your kids back. They're saying that the Rekietas are being a barrier to case planning because they won't move out of the drug phase.
Yeah.
So that's needed to move the process along. Also in the documents, it says, or Nick's required mental health assessment. So Nick has to go like see a shrink or a therapist or something to make sure that he's not fucked up mentally.
That'll be the worst job for that therapist.
I'm telling you,
Just
right
from what you've explained to me of Nick, yeah. I have to imagine the linguistic battles that'll be happening as he argues and debates and kind of talks away any of his issues.
Well, and a therapist will just do this to him. They'll just cross their arms, look at him, and go, "Who are you trying to convince, me or you? Because I ain't falling for this." And knowing Nick the way I do, he resents being asked to do a mental health assessment. Resents it, and people like Nick don't want to go to something like that because they don't want to be told that they're fucked up. Because in their mind, they've got everything under control, and it's like they say in AA or other programs where they're like, your best thinking got you where you are. This is not anyone's fault but yours. So you can't say that you've got it under control or you've got it taken care of because...
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I got it under control. My life's over. You're doing drugs and then wife swapping, man. It's not under control. It's gone wildly off the rails.
And the things I've seen with the hitting yourself and the throwing fits and the massive fights with his wife and everything else. And it's, you're losing it. You're losing your tether to reality. You're fucked up. And that, again, I haven't seen the motherfucker since April or May. Probably April. I've seen Kayla, but I haven't seen him since April. And
yeah, you haven't seen him since April.
All right. But like, even then, it was like this guy's barely hanging on. And this is a month and a half before he got arrested. And I'm like, this dude's losing his fucking shit. So kept being a barrier. Nick's got to do a mental health assessment and a chemical use assessment, both being not completed after weeks to get such simple tasks done. So if he wanted to get his kids back, he's had since early June now.
Yeah.
To get a mental health assessment and a chemical use assessment. He doesn't want to be told he's an addict. He doesn't want to be told that he has mental health issues because he sees that as weakness. He sees that as, no, I'm a heavy operator. I know my shit. I'm 10 steps ahead of everybody. So he doesn't want to go in front of a professional and they go, you've got serious insecurity issues. You've got, serious, maybe some borderline personality disorder. Who knows? And then he doesn't want to do the chemical use assessment because he doesn't want to be told that he's a junkie. Because I've got it under control. See, what you don't understand about coke is sometimes you have stress to this level and your capacity is here. And you do coke and it brings your capacity up here. A chemical, like...
Drop some of your needs.
Right. You can drop that bullshit on April and she'll believe it because, oh, wow, Mustang. But you're not going to be able to bullshit a chemical use assessment officer on something like that. And he knows that, so he doesn't want to do that. But here's what drives me nuts. And here's what makes me so happy that I made the decision I did. Not only that, but also I don't think there was another decision for me. I think I was going to end up in this spot regardless, because just the idea of choosing something like that over my children would never occur to me. The fact that this is stuff he needs to do to put his family back together, and he's fucking refusing. I would have all this stuff done yesterday. I would have pled out already. Like, this, if this were me, I would have asked for whatever deal they want, cooperated however they needed, taken the tests, gone to all the programs, done all the stuff, because I would realize I've lost my fucking children. Something's wrong with me. I have to fix myself so I can get my fucking kids back and have a shot at being a father and a family man.
Yeah, if it happened to me, I'd be like, wait, you're going to take the fucker?
Woo! But
no skin off my nut. It's party time up in this egg. All right, so that's what I'd be at.
Right, but you understand you can't blame people for seeing you that way.
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit.
In his instance, though, you can't blame people for seeing them that way because just what we know, that's how it appears. And sometimes things are as they seem. Both not being completed after weeks to get such simple tasks done, or Candy, Ohio County Health and Human Services' new insistence that Nick see through meetings of a support network. It sounds like they want him to go to AA. He ain't. I'm telling you right now, he ain't fucking doing it. He's got too much pride. You know, the old term pride come before the fall. This is it. I mean, this is one of the most stubborn, prideful motherfuckers you'll ever meet, and he thinks he's got it under control. So
for me, gravity is usually what comes before the fall.
Yeah. Stairs come before the fall. It's understandable. But you're talking about, so what are the list of things here? They get to search both houses,
right.
Blood, urine, and hair tests.
Releasing. Is this just of him or everybody in the house now? Because are we checking everybody?
This is, you're right. This is for the return of the children. So this has to be everybody. So this has to be, I would guess this has to be April too, because if they're including both houses in this order, then
they're considering her part of the household.
I wonder if she won't have to be part of this. So he's got to release the hair test that's already been taken. He's got to subject himself to random unannounced searches, random unannounced hair tests, all this other shit. Now, the criminal case can go however it wants. That doesn't matter with this shit. This they're going to make him do no matter what. A kid tested positive for coke. They need to know if he's been doing it because he was possessing it. He won't let them test. So they're like, look, until we know you're clean, motherfucker, we ain't going to even think about giving you your kids back. You've also got Candy, Ohio County Health and Human Services insistence that supervised visitation at a county facility continue. I'd be remiss to speculate, but if you pore over the attached closely, the 5 respective case plans do have some differences distinguishing 2 from the other 3. So there are other plans for different children. That's interesting. 1 for 3 of them, 1 for 2. Okay. Which may have shed some light on why the county apparently found those 2 more concerning. Well, you know, this is something I thought about too. They definitely interviewed each of the kids.
Right.
Like privately.
They're going to talk to each of the kids. They obviously tested the kids.
Yeah. So depending on what the kids told them, there might be different cases in getting them back. So that's what we know.